Hi guys. Hi guys, this is Nikki, you also known as Face Trader, and you're watching October 30 Philippine Market Update. It's already October 30, 2020. Can you believe it? It's the end of the month and it's also Friday. So I'm inviting all of you guys for later's event. Every day, every Friday, we've got a 5:30 to 6:30 deep dive class. I'll discuss a company or I would discuss the market updates. So there, just inviting you and your friends that you can join our Friday free classes here on YouTube. So today, let's discuss the Philippine market. It's the end of the month, October 30. Let's see what's happened. So take a look on your stats. Philippine index closes the month at 6,324, up 74 points, up 1%. So that's a recovery after last day, after yesterday's sell-off. So you could see that from your stats. Let's take a look on your index. On your index, you've got market value of about 6.7 billion. You could see that people have been picking it up as we told you that it was just a normal profit taking. And after a drop, people would buy it anyway. So you see PSEI is up, all shares up, financials up, industrials up, holdings up, properties up, mining and oil services are up, but a little, just a little. So you could see that also you've got 135 advancers, 81 decliners, so more buyers today, despite that foreign net selling. You could see that actually the market is still in a joyous mood. Your gainers are quite big. AUV up 5%, JG Summit up 3.7%, Aboitiz Power 2.85%, SM Prime and Ayala Land climb up 2.5, 2.7% respectively. Your BPI is still up 2%, Meralco is up 2%, URC is up 2%. So you have more winners. Now in the losers, your Luciatan Group down 3%, Robinson's Land down 2%, Metrobank down 2%, Globe down 1%, Pure Gold down 1%, and so forth. Let's take a look on your stats to take a look at the top traded for the day. Everyone would have noticed that PXP had a big jump today. PXP traded above 12, trading from 11 to 12.10, 8% up. It is making all-time highs. That is a break move. Well, it's not an all-time high, but it's more like a 52-week all-time, 52-week high. And then, of course, your Dito Telecom tried to bounce, not so it tried to break 7, but still steady, 680. Your Converge fell down. So as you know, it's kind of mixed. And I would say that Converge has a mix of bulls and bears. The bears are very strong at 16.8. The bulls are strong at 13. But really, are the bulls strong at 13? We have to see. So far, after hitting from 13 to 15, a lot of flippers, meaning a lot of profit takers. BDO trading at 89 pesos, steady. Jollibee trading at 170 pesos, steady. There was some selling front, trading at about 168 a while ago, but there was actually buyers still on Jollibee. So we'll take a look at those flags. URC 135, 137, steady. BPI steady, 72 to 75. There's some flag movement, meaning there's some profit-taking movement there. SM Prime 33, 34, similar to Ayala Land. You've got some selling resistances at 34 and then 36 and 38. Nonetheless, you've got a lot of supports at 30 below. So JG Summit, lots of support at 60 or near 60. So we saw it go at 61, 62. Now at 64, we do see some selling pressure near 70, whether it's 67, 68, 66, or 70. Ascend, just there. Merrimark, just there. Security Bank, 96, so nowhere. Yeah. Top gainers. Okay, top gainers other than Philex Petroleum, which is 8% up. You've got some winners, not a lot of volume here. So even if there's like up on TBGI or WPI, very small volume. Let's take a look on the big volume. Big volume on EEV for 42 to 44. Small volume on LIHC. This one is relatively big, 100 million pesos on JG Summit. So there. So you've got that movement. Take a look at the worst losers. So worst losers so very huge loss on Century Tuna, CNTF, going down from 16.50 to 15.5. So it peaked at about 18. It fell to as low as 12. Tama ba? Let me see if my memory is correct. The low was about 12, or it was 9. So it was 9.50. The peak was about 18. very strong selling at 15.50. Let's take a look whether it should be bought at 13.50 or so. Very huge drop on Century Tuna today. Let's take a look at the index. Okay, stats. Worst loser would be Century Tuna, your IMI selling pressure. Okay, Luciatan Group sold. But the thing about Luciatan is it went from 9 to 13, so 11.50 profit taking still. You've got, ano bang malalaki? Converge, big sell-off. Metro Bank, lots of selling, so it had a pressure at 42. You've got this selling pressure as well on FB, 65 to 63. The rest, yeah, very small volume. Robinson's Land also got some selling off at 15, but let's take a look at Robinson's. Robinson's rallied from about 13, right? Or 14, okay. Robinson's and Mega World are kind of the same with Ali and SM Prime. They're in the nowhere zone. But even if they're in the nowhere zone, it looks like because Ayala Land and SM Prime are trying to climb up, it's possible that your Robinson's Land and Mega World are trying to also climb back up. Let's take a look at each issues. Let's go to their charts. Wait lang, Instagrams. Also, I'd like to show you a few things. So, I prefer going to the website of Filinvest instead because I looked at it a while ago. Wait up. So let me just remind everyone that during this COVID pandemic, Filinvest Land, like all the properties, had suffered. But the beautiful thing about Filinvest is that coming this November, so take note that 2020 dividends are given in two tranches. The first tranche was 3.24 cents. It had a record date fixed on July 10. Payment date was August 5, 2020. Second tranche is 3.24 cents, a record date fixed on November 16, payment date on December 11, 2020. The last day to buy Filinvest Land would be on November 10. So take note that at current level of about 95 cents, you should be aware of that this is one of the highest dividend payments in the last 6-7 years. From 2014 to 2020, 5 cents, 5.6 cents, 6.1 cents, 6.4 cents. Even in a pandemic, this company continued to pay cash dividends. The payout rate is a fixed 25% policy. Take note that they were able to pay that dividends because of high income. So when you take a look at the investor relations reports, take a look at the investor relations presentations of dividends on Filinvest, we will take a look at this company. 9 months 2019, first quarter 2020, first half 2020, annual stockholders meeting. So even if we just take a look at the first half, given that you could see already the pandemic has impacted all of the revenues of properties. Despite that, first half, Filinvest recorded a revenue of 8.8 billion, net income of 2.3. It is a decline, but it is still a net income at the end of the day. Real estate revenues have decreased, like everyone did, by 46% due to the delayed completion and the grace period given to buyers during the ECQ. Rental services grew by 1% because it was offset, even if mall revenues declined, there was still the growth of office leasing. CapEx expenditures amounted to 5 billion pesos. Balance sheet remains healthy with net debt to equity ratio of 0.84 versus to 1. First half total revenues fell for Filinvest Land. First half rental revenues climbed up because of the office retail space. So they have actually increased their office retail, and that allowed them to have a flat rental revenue despite the quarantine period. So you could see that offices was still there, 2.97 billion. I think this is largely your BPOs. So real estate revenues, 8.4, fell down to 4.5 because of delays on the completion of the projects. So revenues, as you could see, they still have equity and net earnings, associates, rental services. So it is actually very stable. Gross profit margin on real estate sales is a 41%. That means that they make a huge 40% gross margin on every real estate that they sell, house, office, residential usually. Rental services is huge. They've got an 80% gross margin on all the gross rental. Gross profit margin under rental leasing. Percent of G&A is very small, 9%. Selling and marketing expenses is 5%. That means that the company is highly cost efficient. Improved margins from about 25 to 27% despite COVID pandemic. Huge tax cuts, 20% to 10%. So in terms of sales, looks good. OFW shares of sales is actually 20%. So assuming that OFWs have a harder time due to the conditions of the world, it's good to note that it's actually a smaller percentage of the revenues of Filinvest. When you take a look at net debt, the reality is it's just small, 60 billion. They've got total assets of 177 billion. So they still have a lot of stockholders' equity. So this net debt ratio is actually small given the current. So most of the balance sheet that you see like this is actually very good. 99% of their borrowings are fixed rate. Only 1% is floating. 100% of their peso debt. Overall cost of debt is 5.28%. So very low cost on the debt. Retail bonds is 46% of total FLI debt. So even if Filinvest plans to have issuance of more fixed debt at 5% rate or less, that would still be okay. Where are they spending? So they're spending 42% on office leasing, retail leasing, residential land acquisition, 20%. It's a stable company, so I think that it's more or less like a 50% growth in the last, so we'll take a look at the last 5 years as well for you to understand whether this fits your portfolio. It's the leader in your South Metro Manila office space. You could see Northgate, Cyberzone, Filinvest City, Alabang. This is a pioneer PEZA accredited business park, 10 hectares, 19 operating buildings, 327,000 square meter of gross leasable area. So they're really a building. And they've got so many hectares that they also own. They are constructing more buildings with 78,000 GLA, so that would increase their revenues. Of course, the problem is currently you might have heard that property prices, they don't deserve a huge premium because the vacancies and so forth. But assuming that you are thinking of a reopening play, or assuming that you believe that the Philippine demand can be mitigated by lower rental, meaning at 40% rental rates, assuming it used to be about 1,000 peso per square meter, if it's about 500 peso per square meter, then there will still be a tenant, so or even like 250 peso per square meter. So Metro Manila offices are under construction. They've got in Makati City, they've got in Ortigas, they've got in Quezon City. These were target completion that could have had delays because of the COVID pandemic. Nonetheless, you are seeing that one Filinvest, Makati City, Studio 7, Quezon City. I would say that for a new building like that, they would still be able to get a tenant no matter what. It's just a pricing rental difference. So it could be if it used to cost maybe 1,000 peso per square meter in a CBD rental rate, it could be about 700 or 500 pesos today. I'm not a real estate agent, so I don't track the rental rates every now and then. Nonetheless, my view is that it's not totally blank. Like it's not like total zero. Strong presence in Cebu. So you could see that Filinvest is going well under IT Park, Cyberzone Cebu. In my view, the cloud computing tells you that you can have companies abroad still relocate their BPOs in the Philippines for low cost. And because remote work is a huge thing, whether you're servicing US, China, or any other country in the world, I would say that as long as the office rental is cheap, there will still be companies that will still demand that office rental. So I don't think that it is such a huge apocalypse. I think like most people talk about apocalypse in office demand. My view is that it's all a matter of pricing. So there will still be a rental demand for office, even if people are working from home. In this case, people can work from the office, assuming that they live near that area. So typically, an IT professional would still be working either from home or from an office. And I'd say that if it's nearby to their workplace, then there would be some people who would still go to the office if it's just a stone's throw away or if it's walkable. Filinvest Mimosa Plus, Clark, Pampanga. Take note that they have a Lodge Plus Dormital, a lot of office buildings, retail strip mall, 33,000 square meter regional life mall, residential condominium. So these are still ongoing in Clark. So they've got a Work Plus Office Park. This is a 110,000 square meter projected gross leasable area for a total of 8 buildings and 1 building for completion in 2020. The Innovation Park, New Clark City, is ready to accommodate construction of locators by second half of 2020 in the 64-hectare phase 1 of the Innovation Park. They believe that they have a heightened interest from light manufacturing and logistics companies. This means that the Shoppees, the Lazadas, the Zaloras, even Ninja Van or all your logistics related companies like a Grab or even an Alibaba related company or even JD. I would think that logistics companies really would love to have a place to stay and with cheap rents and probably a great area in the entire global city of Clark. I am more bullish rather than bearish. So Filinvest Land, let's take a look. The company is seeing a demand for big land parcels, ready-built factories to address the needs of the growing logistics and e-commerce industry. So this is a secular trend that I believe in. So Filinvest is trying to address that via industrial parks. So apart from lot leases, Filinvest is looking to also construct high specification features for lease to customers. Now, if you take a look, renting a warehouse is actually a high margin because you don't really need to spend a lot, unlike an office. So this is actually a high margin product for Filinvest, in my view. Dormitals and Versa flats. Now, of course, these people who are working would still need to live somewhere. So as long as it is serving the needs of those workers, housing needs. So Filinvest has also addressed that work-live play, similar to how Mega World was thinking, right? So Mega World tried to innovate with that work-live-play concept. And Filinvest is also doing the same thing in Clark City. They've got 4 buildings under construction. So the office workers can actually live there and stay there while they work in the logistics or warehousing areas in New Clark City. So 4 buildings will be completed in 2020 with 800 beds per building. This is similar to what My Town of SM did, like affordable, cheap rents. So they sell it as a bed space rather than a room, or like even in a room, you can split it up via how many beds per room. So that makes it possible to be a high margin product. I don't think I'm not sure if it's completed in 2020. Nonetheless, even if it got delayed for a year, I'm okay because pandemic really delayed everything. Market valuation of existing investment properties. Existing properties are valued at 128. Those are constructing 62 billion. So you're seeing about 200 billion pesos for just the party appraisal on income approach for buildings and market value of their land. Two-pronged strategy, continue to expand to heavier logistics share, prudent residential expansion, affordable and mid-market oriented, low to mid-rise to manage construction market risk. Take note that they are the middle residential building leader. That means that they have a total of 27 middle-rise building, means that it's not skyscraper. And these are preferred because young families want accessibility, open space, convenience. It has an offering also in Greater Manila area and such provinces such as Zamboanga. So they've got Futura Vinta, Belize Oasis, Muntinlupa, and Futura East, Cainta. So housing subdivisions, they've got New Leaf Cavite. These are your so-called value for money housing, providing a comfort for people who need a home in safe and accessible locations. They have it in Claremont, Pampanga, New Leaf Cavite, Futura Homes, Zamboanga. So the key takeaway is that they want to serve the core affordable middle income and end user market, which will recover eventually after COVID. They have a geographically diverse project to benefit from transportation and road infrastructure projects. So New Clark City will also have a lot of transportation there. They're already positioned to benefit to the shift in e-commerce because they've got a huge 10-hectare location in New Clark City. So this is my high reward if I invest in Filinvest Land, that New Clark City. More emphasis as well on office development. which will provide a cushion to the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. So in my view, yeah, so I'm highlighting this because in my view, currently, take a look at take a look at some stats, take a look at the analytics. Filinvest Land currently trades at a discount, of course. Let's take a look at your properties, PRO. So in your properties, you could see a lot of people are focused on SM Prime and Ayala Land for the reasons that they see it stable. I would agree with that. Mega World, Robinson's Land, those are your top three, top four. Vista Land, some people take a look at it sometimes. You've got 8990 House, you've got some Double Dragon. And here in the number 8 is your Filinvest. Your Filinvest today trades at a market cap of 20 billion. You've heard a while ago that the total assessed valuation of the buildings in the land is approximately 180 billion if they were to sell those buildings at market cost today, even in just a third-party appraisal. So I do think that there's a huge ton of value in Filinvest Land. And this company, how am I sure that I could hold on to it? Well, as you've seen already, Filinvest pays dividends. They've got income. So even if I have to wait another 5 years or so, the good thing is that your money is not wasted sleeping there as long as they pay. And the good thing is that they never fail to pay, even in a pandemic. So it just shows to you that the company has huge balance sheet, huge cash positions, and this drop of the pandemic allows you to actually get value for your money. So this is something that I'm taking a look at. I do have some position. So as you could see, this one from a charting perspective already double bottom here at about 87 at 77 cents and here at about 80 cents. We've already seen the bottom of Filinvest, in my view, in the last 12 months. If you take a look at this company is already trading near the bottom of that chart in the last 10 years. And in the last 10 years, the company was able to double their, actually not just double their revenues, but actually more than 10x their revenues. So given those great numbers, I'd say that this company is overlooked, neglected, and gives us a good value play. So at 97 cents, not only do you get a 6% consistent yield, given they're paying 6 cents. Do note that there's a dividend upcoming this coming November. Ex-date, Wednesday, November 11. That gives you until November 10 to buy this as low as you can, 97 cents to as low as 77 cents. Although, as you could see, a lot of people have been accumulating Filinvest from about 97 cents to 90 cents. So, assuming that it does go down after dividend at 3 centavos, not a problem because you do have great value here. 97, let's say after dividend, it goes 94, 95 cents. Doesn't matter. You can still buy at 92 cents, knowing that next year they will continue to pay 6 centavos and so forth. So this is one of those easy dividend plays that the market is overlooking. Of course, it's going to take time. Nobody is pricing in that Filinvest is a warehouse leasing leader. Take note that you have several reasons to be bullish. Filinvest will profit on New Clark City demand. Filinvest is also already profitable and has those cash dividends. Take note that All HC, Ayala Land Logistics, went up from about 180 to 270. My understanding is that this went up because of warehouse leasing. And the truth is, All HC is not the only one. Filinvest also does warehouse leasing, especially for logistics and e-commerce companies in Clark. Specifically as well, when it comes to Clark, PHR comes to mind. PHR had I'm not sure if it's successful, but they've mentioned a secondary offering at 1.68. People have been asking me about it. So in my view, I think like the bullishness on Clark City and the dividends of Filinvest and the stability should actually be a buy area for Filinvest. Now I'm gonna take your commentaries. What do you think? Will PNB ever have property with dividends like Altos? So I think like PNB will have either a dividend, like a special dividend through a cash dividend. That's my view. I'm not so sure, but I think like 25, 27, you've got a high, you have a high you have a high chance. I'm not saying that it is a reality, but I think you have a high chance of getting a special cash dividend someday in the future. B9 Nizzle asks, what are your top penny stocks? None. I don't know. Good night. Have a long weekend. Which stocks do you like for Christmas? I'm not really thinking too much about like Christmas. I'm just like thinking, well, if I buy this, what's my downside? So assuming that you're buying Cebu Pacific at 39, or you're buying, say, a Filinvest at 97 cents, or an AGI at 8 pesos, I don't think you're thinking about making a lot of money by Christmas. But I think that you're thinking that maybe you'll make 20%. If it doesn't take Christmas, then maybe it takes 1 year or so, diba? So yun. Would you have any ratio of the BPOs versus the POGOs on FLI portfolio? We can check that. Let's take a look. Filinvest BPO revenues. Well, this is 2019. Filinvest welcomes a rebound of BPO sector with more office space leasing, expanding its office property. Kotyanon is expanding BPO through their Mimosa in Clark, Pampanga. They've got building 7 Work Plus. They also topped out 4 Work Plus, which will create 5,040 additional BPO seats. Work Plus is a green-oriented space. It will feature 8 middle-rise buildings. So the vision is to be a top-of-mind business and leisure destination. They want to attract locators because of the refreshing green campus environment, office cluster, providing vast employment opportunities for Pampanga. The bull case on Filinvest is really on the Pampanga side. Capital gets office towers. Cebu will receive 2% of the gross revenue of the buildings. Even in Cebu, the topic of Filinvest has always been BPOs, whether it be the North Gate, Cyber Zone, the Alabang. So I mean, even if we don't see here the exact percentage, I think that you have to understand that Filinvest Land has allotted most of their buildings primarily to BPOs. The online gaming was not too much of their core position, even if they benefited on the POGO. Which means that if POGO left, they're not too difficult either. So so the real estate industry in the Philippines has actually grown through BPOs, online gaming, and of course with online gaming leaving the Philippines, that is of course a hindrance, not just to Filinvest, but really to the entire property sector. We don't see the ratio ratio of BPO versus POGO. Let me see if people have tried to do it. Let's see if somebody tried. POGO sector overtakes IT, BPO, and office space. Currently, that was 2019. Philippine Market Strategy, Credit Suisse. He says that as a percentage, POGOs are not BPO firms. BPO and POGO faces headwinds February. Bond prospectus. I wouldn't know the exact percentage. Let's see. Can we find any? Office leasing transactions. Colliers Philippines. Okay, assuming that you take into consideration what Colliers believes in, it should be almost the same. Like offshore gambling is 30% or 25%. And then, let's see. Qatar, that's residential. We don't have, or maybe I haven't seen it. Nonetheless, I'm gonna share to you a few things. This one is actually an article that I've made last year. that January 25, 2019, I wrote All Things Lead to Clark. So the most ambitious project of the Philippines today is to decongest Manila, to build a new city, New Clark City. So you could see that it is a vision that's shared by your great leaders like the Dennis Oy, like he's been proposing all these Clark Modern City, Clark Global City. Of course, your Vince Dizon has shared a lot about their focus on the Clark City, the Clark Airport, Changi, if you remember, the Changi Airport, they were supposed to make an airport there in Clark. I think that is still being done by Megawide, and supposedly, I'm, I mean, there could have been delays, but I've seen like it was built like Clark Pampanga Airport. There was an expansion, if you recall, and I think it was really done. Let's see the images. Is Clark Airport expand? I know they've expanded that, and it was paid for. Um, Clark Airport starts using Trees app in the fight against COVID-19. Lapid wants Clark Airport renamed after the ex-president Macapagal. Clark Airport gets a new passenger terminal. BCDA chief that there are no merger plans for Clark government firms. Clark opens the buildings to open in January 2021. So there's also a Clark Railway to start in December, one day ago. So I think that you have all the recipes for a secular move on the Clark. Changi at Clark, BCDA. So people are asking me, am I bullish on Clark? The answer is yes. I think that there are several winners. Of course, your Dennis Oy is planning to really shift a lot of the growth, and that is the reason why there's some real buyers on PHR. And so you've got the Clark Freeport Zone, and you could see that CPG also went to Pampanga. Dennis Oy brings BGC to Pampanga. Supportive LGUs. You've got the PLDTs, the Filinvest. I think even the VLL, the Vista Land Group, also went into Clark. SM, of course, is also there. So you could actually take a look at an article I read that I already did. Medium.com/@Nikki, all things lead to Clark. So in my view, because these trends are real and it's not going to change even with a pandemic, I do think that this drop of Filinvest is actually an opportunity. How about DMW? Well, today kasi I tried to just discuss Filinvest. So like parang or next week, thoughts on Century 2 or maybe that company. Maybe we can buy it at 13 peso 50 cents. I didn't study Century Tuna, so I can't like give an answer. With DMW, okay, I'll give you like some understanding. DMW, in my view, is making a lot of money, and I understand that all the properties this year are very bad. So, but value is there, like just like FLI has value. So it's more or less that how much time do you have? Can you see it? Wait that 2 years or so. I can't read the question of Will. What's this? Di ko mabasa eh. Nababasa ko lang yung how about DMW. Teka. Something with my screens. B Core for Christmas. Okay. I really know nothing. Actually, I don't know. So Will says it's B Core for Christmas. I don't know. So in my view, I just think that there's value in Filinvest, just as I thought that there's value on I think there's value on PH Resorts. I think like this is Dennis Oy's theme for BGC. I haven't read the prospectus, guys. So people are asking me PHR secondary offering. Hindi ko pa nabasa eh. Or maybe you can link. You can share it to my Twitter. My Twitter is @FacesTrader. I'll try to study it if you give me the links. Yeah, so there, if you ask me, should I invest in FLI? My answer is yes. There's that stability, there's that growth. And although people have very small upsides right now, maybe they're thinking, maybe it just goes 1.1. maybe. But I guess in the next 3 years or 5 years, it could go 1.5 at the very least. There's a lot of value in the Philippines. It might not be a 10x move, meaning I don't see it going 10 pesos, like buy Filinvest 1, sell it at 10. I don't see it that way. But can it go to 2 pesos man lang? Give me about 5 years, I think, yes. Yeah, and while you're waiting, you get 6 cents times 5 years, 30 cents. So that's the beauty about buying it low right now. DNL, I think, is being bought at about 6 pesos below. So there's a buyer in DNL. Okay, thank you very much. That's it, guys. Bye-bye. See you later, 5:30.